Hello, my friends and caffeinated creeps alike, and welcome back to the world of the creepy and the caffeinated, of conspiracies and coffee. Welcome to Tales from the Dark Roast. I want to start this episode with a bit of a disclaimer. Today, we're going to be talking about one of the two topics you're not supposed to bring it up at the dinner table: religion. Bringing this up now because I want to make it clear that my guests and I are going to be talking about our personal beliefs. We're not trying to persuade you, dismiss your belief system, or anything along those lines. What we are trying to do is have an actual discussion involving religion and how it shapes our views on the supernatural and the paranormal. Most people I have spoken with have some sort of belief system or religion that they subscribe to, and it colors how they perceive odd events. Some can have an experience with a spirit or a ghost and believe it was an angel, a demon, or even a deceased loved one come to visit them. But what do you do if you do not believe in religion? What if you're an atheist? How do you experience the spiritual if you may not subscribe to the normal idea that a spirit is the eternal soul of someone who has passed from this life? To get to some of those answers, I've decided to get a good friend join me and discuss some of the experiences he's had recently and how he views those events as an atheist. Again, don't take this episode as an attack on your beliefs or how you view the world. Instead, think of it as a chance to learn a little bit about a unique viewpoint on the paranormal. So welcome with me to the show, my friend for over 20 years, Luke. Hey, man, thanks for joining the show.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Hey, man. So before we get started, I want to get into the coffee talk because I feel like we're both going to go super long on this because we're chatty Cathy's. So are you drinking anything right now?
I'm having Caribou, just a normal Caribou medium roast. Nothing crazy right now.
Nice. You drink that with any cream or sugar, or you take it black?
Cream and sugar, mostly because I don't hate myself.
Oh, that's oh, come on, man. Black coffee. I'm not gonna lie, it took me a while to get used to black coffee, but now that I do enjoy it. Like I would say 75% of the time I want black coffee, but occasionally I do just want a little bit of cream and sugar. So
I think minimum I like just a little bit of sugar in there. Like if it's gotta be black, you go to a lot of restaurants and they don't have like really thick creamer, or they'll use milk or something like that.
yeah, half
I'm
and
not gonna
half.
use
Ugh.
that. I'll just use a couple sugars and I'll call it good.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm honestly at most restaurants, that's why I order it black. It's because I don't like half and half. I don't like the weak milk stuff. Like,
Yeah.
Creamer or nothing. So I am drinking another Bones coffee. It's actually the last one from the sampler pack I got from my sister, and it's called High Voltage, and it is, I
That's a
guess
pretty good one.
it's extra caffeinated, I guess.
Yes.
So I haven't opened it yet. I literally saved it because I knew I was going to be doing this tonight with you, and then afterwards, I've got my normal my normal D&D session that runs very late into the wee hours of the morning. So I wanted a little bit extra. So
Yeah, that's a good choice. I love Bones coffee. My favorite is from Dust Till Donuts.
I haven't had that one yet.
That it's a jelly donut. Ooh, it's good.
Nice. Well, the company itself is only like 2 hours south of me.
Really?
And yes, and so this is probably like, we'll probably air 3 or 4 weeks after, but they actually started selling it at a grocery store down near their office. So you can actually go into the store and buy like whole bags of their coffee. And I keep threatening my wife that I'm going to go down there and come back with like a carload of Bones coffee. So,
well, if you go there and buy it, then you don't get stickers.
I know. Man, I love their stickers too. I really do. And
they need to put out stickers of the coffee designs, like of the logos on the different coffees, because like the Frankenbones logo is really great. Mm-hmm. And from Dust Till Donuts is great. I want stickers of these. That would be amazing.
You know what? I keep threatening to go down and stalk them and like go to their actual corporate office, and like if I do, I'm like, stickers to the bags.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they already have them. That's what they put on the bag. It's just a sticker. Yep. So just sell those. I don't know. I've actually kept every bag of their coffee specifically because I liked the designs, and I want to just put them like on a poster board or something that I can maybe use as a background in the future. So,
yeah, that's a pretty good idea.
I mean, like you said, they make good designs and they make great coffee. So
Yeah, you could take pictures of them and have them printed on canvases, and then make a mosaic behind you.
There we go. Now we're getting some ideas. Bones, if you're listening, I keep saying I'm going to stalk you. So, but all right. So we've paid our price to the Java gods, and so, like I said in the intro, Luke is an atheist. He's a self-admitted atheist. I think the entire time that I've known him, he's been an atheist.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's actually not true. When we met 20 years ago, I was pretty faithful. I would say non-denominational Christian, just normal Protestant.
Okay.
If you had to put me in a church, I would probably lean toward Methodist more than anything else.
Okay. See, I guess I knew you and I hung out with you, but a lot of times it was because of a third-party friend that we had. So I guess I didn't know that about you.
Well, it didn't come up very often.
No, because I think most of the time we were just hanging out or going to shows or talking about the Reverend. So
correct.
Yeah, Reverend Horton Heat for those that are curious.
That's right.
So, but you know, and I've had the podcast now for a little bit, and I think you reached out to me a week or two ago, and you said that you'd actually had something kind of weird happen.
Yep.
So let's tell me that story, man. Get into it.
Okay, so I'm in the military. I move around. I went to Texas, and my wife would complain that she like shadows would move on the wall, and I never paid it any attention. Like you said, I'm an atheist. I don't really believe in all of that. But then we move here to Georgia, and she's saying a lot of the same things. There's a stairwell in the house that goes up to the office above the garage. And she would say that she would see somebody at the top of the stairs, but then she would look, like she would see it out of the corner of her eye. And then she would look and there would be nobody there. And that's fine. This is a common occurrence, right? You hear about it all the time on any of those spooky shows, you know? But then she would hear somebody walking around upstairs above our bedroom or in the living room or something. And it is never when I'm home. It's always when I'm gone. And she would text me, it really sounds like somebody's upstairs. And I was like, well, you should go upstairs and take care of that then. And she goes, I will not, like, absolutely will not, because if it's a ghost, I don't want anything to do with that. And if it's a person, I want even less to do with that. Hopefully, if it's a guy living in our attic, he will take the hint and leave. But, you know, even then, my house was built in 2012. So it's starting to get that, to be that age where things are starting to creak and groan, you know?
Yeah, things are starting to wear a little thin. Pipes are starting to finally disconnect from their attachments.
Yeah. Like I'm not worried about this. And then she said that somebody had turned off the air conditioner, and she leaves the air conditioner on all year long. She loves the cold. I thought that maybe it had tripped, you know? That maybe there was just an overload of the circuit and the system shut off. But she said, no, it wasn't that. It was that the switch, the physical switch, had been moved to off. And she never does that.
Like on the breaker box or on the actual like thermostat?
Not on the thermostat. There's a physical switch, right? Like there are buttons, but there's a physical switch that moves it from cool to heat or emergency heat. And it had been turned off. And she goes, I never do that. All right. Well, maybe one day you did.
Yeah, maybe you were making an adjustment. You actually, you know, clicked it with your other finger or something. Didn't notice it. Right.
You know, I'm a very doubtful Thomas here. And then she sends me a text that says that she had these books that were stacked on this junky couch behind her desk. And it was like a stack of 4 or 5 books. And then she leaves, and the next day she comes back, and the books are on a bookshelf near the couch, but not on the couch. As she goes, I didn't move those books. And I'm pretty sure that none of the kids moved those books either, because why would they?
Right.
And I go, huh. Well, that's all right.
That's a little harder to explain, but
that's kind of weird. Yeah, sure. Later on, like today, I was telling her, hey, I'm going to be on Billy's show. We're going to talk about the ghosts. We're going to talk about the books moving. And she was like, yeah, your son did that. Oh, he did. And she goes, yeah, our oldest said that he had moved it because he wanted to sit down on the couch. I was like, well, there you go. No such thing as ghosts, right?
Mystery solved. Mystery solved.
Mystery solved. No such thing as ghosts. But while I was here, I have a bookshelf that's right next to the door to the upstairs office. And I was walking out and I noticed that there was a child's tooth on one of the shelves. And it probably came from one of my kids, since we move a lot, we've got a lot of boxes, and unfortunately we still have a lot of boxes. We just haven't fully unpacked this house. So I figured that my wife found the tooth and then wanted to throw it away, so she put it on my shelf at eye level so she could remind herself on the way downstairs, hey, I got to throw away this tooth.
Right.
And I was, and I told her as much. She was like, yeah, I think I put it on the shelf. And I was like, okay, well, I'll take care of it. Right. And I took this, this child's tooth downstairs and I threw it away, or at least I'm pretty sure I threw it away. I'm pretty sure I threw it away. But about a week goes by and I'm walking out of the office again and the tooth is there on the shelf. It wasn't like exactly where I had seen it before. So I must have touched it, if I didn't throw it away. But I was almost certain that I threw it away. So I was like, are you messing with me right now? Like, are you digging this tooth? Do you have more teeth? Like, is this like coming from a supply? You know how like your kids lose teeth?
Yeah. She's got a sock in one of her drawers just full of kids' teeth.
Yeah. You like, as a parent, you think, oh, like there's got to be a good reason to save these teeth. Like, these are my children's teeth. They're valuable to me for some reason.
Yeah. They're memories.
Like, it's so silly, right? We're such a weird species.
We are, especially once you become a parent. Your level of silly just skyrockets the things that you think and do.
It's insane. So I was thinking maybe she's got like 4 or 5 of these and she's just playing a prank on me. But she's not a pranking type of person. And I was like, all right. Well, maybe I didn't throw it away. I'm gonna throw it away. And I remember grabbing it and I held it in my hand. It was sharp at one of the edges, and I took it downstairs and I threw it away. And I looked at my wife, who wasn't in the office when I found it the second time. She was sitting on the couch downstairs, and I was like, I'm throwing away the tooth. And she goes, why are you telling me this? I was like, because I'm almost 100% sure that I already threw this tooth away. And she goes, really? And I said, yeah. And unless you're pranking me or something, it popped back up. It's on the same shelf.
Yeah.
And she goes, no, I didn't put a tooth on there.
I mean, it'd be different if like you found it like on the floor in the kitchen, because then you could think, okay, well, I missed the garbage can and now it's just been kicked around the garbage or kicked around the kitchen,
Absolutely. But going all the way back upstairs, a little bit more of a reach.
Yeah. So, and especially in the same spot on the same shelf.
Yeah. It was weird. Right. But I remember I threw it away. A couple weeks go by. I'm in the office. And the tooth is back on the shelf. And you gotta be fucking kidding me. I grabbed the tooth and I was like, what the hell? And I go to my wife and I was like, are you doing this? And she goes, oh no. Like I have no idea. What is that, another tooth? And I go, I think it's the same tooth.
So it looked like the same tooth. It wasn't just that it was a tooth. It was the same tooth.
Right. We were not talking about like a front tooth and a canine. We're talking about like the same tooth, sharp in the exact same spot. And I go, that is so weird. And she goes, it's kind of scary. And I was like, well, yeah, I guess it is. I guess it is kind of scary. And she goes, what are you going to, what are we going to do about it? Well, I'm going to deploy. So have fun.
I'm throwing this one away and then I'm gone.
Yeah, I threw away that tooth. I made a big exaggerated gesture about it, like I'm throwing this thing away and it better not pop up again. Oh, and since then, no teeth. But
yeah, that's some really weird, like reverse tooth fairy nonsense going on.
Yeah, look, this is not a repository for teeth.
Yeah.
And
also, just to think that like your kids are older, they've got their teeth, right?
Yeah, they're like 14 and 13. They don't.
So they're years past losing teeth.
Yeah, they've got all their teeth, all their grown-up teeth, all their kid teeth are gone. I don't know why. This thing just kept on popping up.
I mean, I'm gonna throw an idea out here. It could have been one of your kids messing with you. Like maybe they just found it in a box. Like, have you confronted them? Because I could see one of them doing that for sure.
That would be really good. But the thing is that it's a little bit more brilliant than I think either of my kids would come up with on their own. Like they are weird kids, right? Like my Facebook memory for one of my Facebook memories from today was 11 years ago. I was talking to my oldest, and she knew that song. She went to a Christian preschool with like God's got the whole world in his hands, right?
Yeah.
And he talks about the little bitty babies in his hands, yeah. Right? And 11 years ago, I asked my oldest, I was like, and what does God do with those little bitty babies in his hands? And they go, he puts them in his mouth and eats them. So they've always been weird, but I don't think they've ever been devious to the point of like pranking, because here's the biggest thing is that I don't prank. Nobody in the family pranks. I think that in general, pranks are the leading contributing factor to the de-evolution of humanity, right? Because every time somebody gets pranked, somebody else loses trust in humanity, you know, like
just that little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost always somebody going out of their way to do what they think is right. And then they get made fun of. Like somebody makes them look like an idiot for doing the right thing because they were stupid enough to try to be good people. And that person's going to hold on to it for the rest of their lives. Every single time they look at somebody who's in need, they're going to go, ooh, maybe there's a camera somewhere. I don't want to look like an idiot again. I'm just going to keep walking. And it drives me batty.
I've never thought of it that way. I'm not going to lie. And now you're really making me rethink scaring my daughter every time she comes out of her room or, you know, around the hallway. Because
sure. Well, that's a little different, right? Like if the door opens and you're there, you're as a father, you are obligated to go boo.
Very much so. Very much so.
That whole like, what would you do camera series or candid camera or impractical jokers.
Yeah.
All of these things, they're and you could watch it. You don't even need to be involved, but you can watch it and go, ooh, man, they'll never get me. I will never be punked by Ashton Kutcher. And as a result, every time you look at somebody who even looks like they might be in need, you go, well, I'm not going to be an idiot, so I'm not going to play that game. I'm just not going to help them. And this is going to compile. Yeah. And it's just going to get worse and worse. So I've been like really harping on my kids their whole lives. They would watch prank videos on YouTube and they would look at me and I'd say, this is horrible. Like, why are these people doing it? Yeah. This is the antithesis of funny. This is not a joke. This is being mean and then laughing about it. And so nobody in the house pranks. Like I take it very seriously and everybody else knows it. So
it's not something they would
popping
do.
Up is like, this isn't, it just wouldn't happen.
So I'm gonna make a confession right now, and in advance, I apologize to my biological sister for this one. In high school, she, I think our freshman year, because we were in the same grade, she had a boyfriend that would always come to the house and hang out. And to mess with her, when they would leave or go do something, I would go into her room, and she had these like little like precious moments, like figurines and stuff.
Sure.
And I would go and I would take one of them and I would move it and then I would rotate it because she kept them in a very specific order.
Sure.
And oh God, dude, I think the majority of 9th grade, I would literally go into her room, move it, twist it to the point where she's like, I'm seeing ghost. There's ghost in this house. And she had like the glow in the dark the stars on her ceiling.
Sure.
I got to her so much so that she started thinking one of the stars was winking at her. And it was
send like an apology card.
I think I'm gonna let that one chill because I don't think she'll ever listen to this, but if she does, I'm sorry, sis.
I'm so sorry for being a dick in high school.
Yeah. She deserved it. She deserved it. At that point, she deserved it because this boyfriend was not high caliber stuff. Like I did not enjoy this guy coming over. I think the only part that was enjoyable was that when he would come over, me and one of our mutual friends would take his car, which was like a Camaro at the time, I think.
Ooh, okay.
And we just go for joyrides while he's hanging out the house. We're like pulling donuts on dirt roads and then coming back with like a quarter of a tank less gas than he had. So
This was one of those 90s Camaros that looked like a beak.
Oh no, it was actually like late 80s.
Oh,
late 80s or early 90s. So
I like those. They've got like a mile per gallon of 6.
Yeah. And was it maybe it wasn't a Camaro. Now that I think of it, was it a Thunderbird? I honestly don't remember. But I remember we would take his car, and then he had a Mustang. He had like a Saline Mustang for a while. Or at least supposedly it was a Saline. Because remember,
stickers are cheap on eBay.
Exactly. And this is like a 17-year-old kid. So, but yeah, we would still take his car and just donuts and so, but so sorry, sis. So yeah, I did do that with the figurines, but so back to your tooth though. Has it shown back up since you thrown it away?
It is not.
Okay.
Not.
So that's good. What, like, I mean, other than like somebody putting it there, like, I don't even know like what significance that would have in the paranormal world, because
oh my god, I have no idea. I don't want to know.
Right.
Like, when you start talking about significance, you go, oh, okay, so this journal or this item was important, whatnot. I can't imagine anything good coming from a tooth's significance, like, this was the tooth that was ripped out of a kid's face in like the 40s or something. I don't want to know that. I don't want this. And like you said, like a reverse tooth fairy, no, stay the hell out of my house. I don't want that. That's like the original Darkness Falls, like from the early O's, was supposed to be an actual tooth fairy.
Yes.
And like Todd McFarlane or McFarlane Toys had put out a toy of what the Tooth Fairy was supposed to look like. It was terrifying. Yeah, and they went with this old lady.
That was a great toy. That was a great toy.
Oh, made me so much money on eBay.
Oh yeah.
And like, you get the vibe. Like, I don't want that. I do not want that in my house.
Absolutely.
I would rather the old lady in my house.
Oh man. So when it comes to like the atheist part of your life and these weird things that are going on in the house, like for the stuff that you honestly can't explain, for your wife seeing someone at the top of the stairs and then going, and then hearing these noises and stuff in the house, or seeing shadows, like what, like, as an atheist, do you look at that as it is a spirit, or do you look at it as just like a random occurrence? Like, how do you explain this stuff?
Well, there's usually logical explanations for it, because it's not like my wife looks at the top of the stairs, full frontal, straight ahead, using her proper eyes, and sees a dude in a red shirt and khaki pants. It's always like she's walking past the stairwell, and out of the corner of her eye, she sees the shape of a man or whatever. Not even a man, like, we're just like a shape of a person at the top of the stairs. And you go, okay, your periphery is sketchy at best.
Yeah. Great for tracking motion, not so much detail.
Yeah. And then you're talking about such a limited amount of exposure and time as to just like cut in front of a stairwell. Like, you probably just saw a shadow, and then your brain was like, hey, is that a person? And then you looked, and the person's not there, but your brain goes, that was probably a person.
Yeah.
Because you're just freaking yourself out there.
Yeah. Well, because also pareidolia. So you tend to see the patterns and shapes that your mind is like safest and closest with. So for most people, that's a human being or a human face, which is why we see like Jesus in toast, or like a smiling face in your, cappuccino whip. So it wouldn't surprise me if, there was a shadow, but it was just a shadow. But because she saw it, blink of an eye, corner of her eye, the safest shape that she can put to, to mind is maybe a human.
Yeah. Not only that, but it's always when I'm gone. Right.
Yeah.
So there's probably a level of fear and self-preservation going on anyway. Like, she's alone in the house with the kids. She's got to protect the house. She's walking by and she sees something out of the corner of her eye. She's probably on like a low-key alert the entire time. And then she happens to walk by the stairwell and see a shadow, and like her brain goes, I got to protect this house. I got to protect these kids. And then she turns and there's nobody there, but her brain goes, hey, what if there was somebody there?
And then it's just a vicious cycle where the brain's saying there was someone there. Oh my God, was there someone there? Crap, crap, crap. And then texting you.
Yeah. I'm going to do a lot of good from wherever I am in the world right there. Like, yeah. Okay.
You realize it's 3 o'clock in the morning here, not 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Like,
yeah. You remember when I think it was 2018 when Hawaii had that nuclear missile alert?
Yes.
Yeah. So my wife was in Hawaii, right, with the kids.
Oh, that's right. You guys were stationed there.
Yeah, when that alert went off, but I was somewhere else with a crazy time difference. So when I woke up and grabbed my phone, it was like, hey, they're saying that a nuclear missile is on its way to Hawaii. You know, I guess I'll see you around. And I've never felt so helpless in my life, you know, like, oh man, well, I better get on Twitter and find out if a nuclear missile hit Hawaii.
Why you're not? Something tells me had it hit, you being in the military, you would have found out very quickly.
Hopefully. I mean, it would have hit Hawaii, so like my entire chain of command would have just been wrecked. So eventually, I'm sure somebody would have realized, oh wait, 2 people from the unit are actually missing right now, and they're not the charred bodies on the island.
They're not the shadows on the walls now.
Right.
Oh man. So do you believe that there could be, not just in your experience or your wife's experience in your house or anything, but just in the world, do you think there could be true paranormal stuff, and does it necessarily have to be related to religion, or could it be something else?
I think that if there is paranormal stuff, because I kind of believe in the idea that we're all energy and it's all cyclical, right? Like, yeah. When it's the circle of life, right? The Lion King taught me a lot about life. We're all part of this crazy cyclical thing, and never ever trust your uncle. And so I kind of buy into the idea that our energy is recycled, and at the very least our cells are recycled and then eaten by other animals and yada yada yada. I get that. I don't think that religion has to play a part in it. I think that for the most part, when people are talking about using paranormal stuff as justification for religion, there's like this critical middle step that just never gets explained to my satisfaction anyway. Like, is there paranormal stuff? There's an awful lot of stuff that's unexplained, right, and unexplainable, but I don't see how that proves anything to do with religion. Like, these two things almost are mutually exclusive, where one just says, well, because of X, there's Y. And to see it go both ways, like I just never got the middle step, and I need it.
You need that middle step in order to make.
Yeah, because there needs to be like a logical chain,
right?
Like, if Jesus Christ came down and said, yeah, there's an afterlife, because look, I made ghosts, and ghosts, some of them go to the afterlife, and some of them just need to hang out here, haunt some people, close out unfinished business. And I'd be like, right, oh yeah, I get it now. That's the middle step. Like, yeah. Ghosts are in purgatory before they go to the afterlife. Got it. That's what I need. Like, that middle step.
Yeah. And what a better purgatory than right now in these times? Like,
sure. Yeah, absolutely. And the idea that like you haunting is closing out unfinished business, perhaps paying for the transgressions that you made when you were alive. That's kind of poetic. I kind of want to believe that. Sure.
Yeah, the author and you can get behind that.
Yeah, but just like, these are ghosts, and that's how I know that angels exist. Like, I'm like, wait a minute. Like,
yeah,
there's a missing thing here.
Yeah, one of these things, like there's a step, like you said, that's missing, that makes that connection. Because yeah, like I've never had anything happen to me that I can definitively say was like paranormal, supernatural, caused by an external force. I've had a couple of weird experiences, but I still can't say that they weren't, one, somebody messing with me, or two, me just hearing something weird in the woods. So sure. Because there's so many animals out there. And growing up, I didn't grow up in a religious house. I
Mm.
did end up right around the time, right before you met, like, so probably the end of my freshman year in high school, I got really heavy into the Baptist church, to the
Mm.
point where I was going to church every Sunday, a part of the youth group, listening to like Christian ska, Christian metal, and punk, and all this other stuff. And when you met me, that was very much a part of my life.
Right.
As I've gotten older, that has kind of faded for me. And any of
Mm.
my relatives or family listening to this are probably gonna be like, "What?" I don't, because
Sure.
I don't talk to them about this, but I can't say I'm 100% atheist, but I definitely am more agnostic, leaning towards atheist about my beliefs, and especially religion and faith in general, because especially with the paranormal, like, you have exorcists, you have exorcism and all this other stuff,
Mm.
but you talk about people cleansing houses and performing exorcisms. A Catholic priest will come in and do that, and the activity will cease. But then you can also get a Wiccan to come in and bless the house and cleanse the house with,
Sage.
the sage, and burn everything out, and that helps. You can get a little hedge witch, like my sister who's been on the show a number of times. Like, she's a hedge witch. Like, she loves burning citrus and sage and all this other stuff, and using stones and salt circles. So to say definitively that, hey, this is the way you have to believe in order to get rid of this stuff, like, no, because that doesn't make sense. Because I think it's faith more than religion that has an
Sure.
effect on a lot of this. And I think a lot of it might even be like a what's the word, when you give someone a sugar pill instead of the actual
A
medicine.
placebo.
Yeah, I think it might be like a little bit of a human placebo effect. Like, you're worried about something in your home,
Yeah.
so you call someone in to cleanse it and do something with it. And I don't think that maybe necessarily something is really happening or occurring, but you're laying that placebo effect so that you can lay your head on your pillow at night and be like, everything's okay. Like, I don't have to worry about those weird noises or the shadows on the wall anymore.
Yeah, like
So
if you increased the amount of money that you were spending on your home security system,
yeah,
would you stop seeing people at the top of your stairs?
right. Because for a definitive fact, no one's getting into your house without an alarm being set off.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with the human mind. Now, I'm not discounting any of my previous guests and the experiences they've had, because the one thing I can say is, while I may not wholeheartedly believe in like ghosts and spirits or even aliens and all that other stuff, I do believe in the experiences that people have had. I believe their stories more than I believe, like the cause of what it might be, if that makes
Sure.
sense.
Yeah, I think that for me overall it's irrelevant to the belief. I like the story,
Yeah.
like I don't necessarily believe in a lot of the um like the Hawaiian monsters and whatnot, but I love to hear these like the local legends of the oh man, I wanted the Menehune or something like that, like these trolls that would come out and get you, or they would say in Hawaii, like, you can't sit in your doorway at midnight because that's when ghosts enter or leave, and if you're in the doorway, then they're taking your soul with it. Like, this is interesting stuff. Like, this is sit around the campfire and spook yourself silly stuff,
Yeah, that is
and it's
great.
just,
That is great lore. Like, I love
yeah,
that stuff.
it's not fun to be like, no, none of that exists, and I'm totally fine. Like, it's fun to indulge,
Yeah.
and if somebody has an experience, then I I like the flavor that comes from their perspective on the experience, as opposed to this happened and this happened and this happened. It's somebody saying like, "Hey, look, so I was raised Catholic, so
Hmm.
I believe in possession, right? So these are the symptoms that I saw in my friend, and it was really freaking me out. So we got the priest, and the priest comes in, and like the whole story is laid out through this Catholic lens. It's it's great, and and I appreciate people sharing it with me. At no point am I going to be like, religious, huh? Like, that's not what I do.
Yeah. And I never thought of it that way, as far as like the lens at which it's viewed from. But I think that very much goes again with like the faith. Like, just being a faithful person. Like, because whenever they call in someone to cleanse a house or to perform an exorcism, it's always someone of faith, a priest, the head of a church, like a witch, even Buddhist monks and stuff like that. Like, they've got these very strong faiths that they bring in. And I think a lot of it, helps put these people at rest. And if there is such a thing as a spirit, and it is such a thing as a ghost and what they're seeing, then maybe that's even if it's not a religion type thing, maybe it's just an energy type thing, or someone, the lingering essence of someone before they're completely gone. Maybe just knowing that that person of faith was there and performing these rites or these sacred sacraments,
Sure.
Maybe that's kind of what puts the thing or the person or whatever it is at ease, or at least, helps the person, sleep better at night.
Yeah, because it's generally never a faith that runs counter to your own. Like you bring in a person of faith that shares your faith. Like you very rarely see Catholics invite Wiccans to come in and cleanse the house.
Yeah,
But they go, I definitely want this house cleansed, and I know what's going to do it. It's somebody that shares my faith. And then that kind of leans into your placebo theory, where they know that they don't need to worry about this at least as much anymore.
Yeah.
Because they're familiar with their faith. They have faith in other people that share their faith. When they came in and said, yes, I cleansed this house, and everything's good now, they go, I'm familiar enough with this to trust it.
Yeah. And when you said I've cleansed this house, the only thing I could think of was Ace Ventura. This house is cleansed.
So I was thinking of the original reference from Ace Ventura of the poltergeist.
Yes. Oh man. Oh. So trying to think here. Would it encounter, like, so say like we get done with this, you're going in, you're saying hey to the wife and everything, and then you walk by the stairs and you don't see a shadow, you see someone at the top of the stairs, and then you look back and it's gone. At that point, how do you reconcile that with what you believe, as far as like, it wasn't an actual person, like you go upstairs, you check, there's no one there.
Yeah.
How do you adjust to that? Like what would your process be if you can think like that?
Man, I don't know, max out my Amex at the hotel. like I would call all the faiths, be like, I got a dirty house. Go clean it up, man.
Keys under the mat.
Burn all the sage, hang all the crosses. Whatever you do, just do it. It would be scary. Like I've never seen anything personally besides like besides the tooth thing, which was just weird. I've never seen anything where I've been like, yep, that settles it for me. There's definitely an afterlife or paranormal stuff, or Bigfoot or anything like that. But I feel like if I did, it would be kind of irrelevant as to what I saw, because at the end of the day, as a parent, like there's something in your house, and get the hell out of the house.
Yeah. And it's not about you at that point when you're a parent, it's about the family.
Yeah. I mean, I might try to gaslight myself if it were just me, or if it were just me and my wife, but I don't want to take the chances with the kids because I've watched too many movies.
Yeah.
And like that never works out well for the kids.
No, it doesn't. Because that's when a week later you walk by your kid's door and they're talking to someone, and you're like, hey, who are you talking to? Oh, I'm talking to Steve, the guy who killed himself in the house before we moved in. Yeah, let's go ahead and pack a bag, we're gone.
Yeah, Captain Howdy keeps me company while you're gone. Yeah. Oh, does he now?
Oh, that's sweet. So completely off topic, did your kids ever say anything weird or creepy to you when they were really little, outside of like
my God
eats the people babies?
So my oldest is like I said, real weirdo, and I love him to death. Generally they've always done weird things. Like they drew a picture of a robot, right? And it was half silver and then the bottom half was red. And I was like, oh, I like how you put rust on the bottom of this robot, you know?
I see where this is
and they
going.
go, no, it's not rust, it's blood. And I go, why blood? And they go, because he killed the guy that made him. And I go, oh, how'd he do that? He goes, he reached into his belly and he pulled everything out. And I was like, yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it for sure. But when they were under 2, we had recently moved into a house and we were preparing for my son to be born. And we were like, all right, well, we'll put my oldest, who had the bedroom on the back side of the house, we'll put them in the bedroom that faces the front of the house so that cars driving by wouldn't wake up my son, who would be in the back bedroom, right?
Yeah, the infant. Yeah.
Yeah. So we moved the beds. My oldest was super stoked, right? Just like, they didn't want to come out and watch TV at the end of the day because they were so stoked about their new bedroom. And they were just running around and they were having a great time. Like, couldn't wait to go to bed. Asked me at like 6:30 at night, is it bedtime? And I was like, yeah, man, if you want to go to bed, go to bed. So they skip to their bedroom, right? Just, I can't emphasize this enough. Super stoked to go to sleep. And they're in there for maybe 10 minutes. And then there's a scream. My oldest never screamed, you know, like they would cry because they're a kid, right? But they never screamed because they were never scared, you know?
Yeah.
And
so something's up at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, warning bells are going off like crazy, right? So I run into the room and I was like, are you okay? And they're sitting on their bed and they're absolutely terrified. They're staring behind me and they go, the little girl doesn't want me to sleep. And I was like, what do you mean the little girl doesn't want you to sleep? You know,
what little
like,
girl?
In my head, I'm like, I'm running through every horror movie with girls. I'm just freaking myself out like crazy. What do you mean the little girl doesn't want you to sleep? Where's the little girl? And she was like, the little girl behind you. Oh, don't say that, man. Don't say the little girl behind me. Yeah, she's in the corner. She's facing the corner. And I go, oh my God, she's facing the corner. Like, she's not even facing the room. You can't tell me what her face looks like. You just see hair. What is she wearing? Oh, she's wearing a long nightgown. Oh my God, this is every horror movie. I gotta get out of here. So she goes, or my oldest goes, I don't want to sleep in this room. And like, just tears are flowing like crazy. And they, since they were really young, they had this tiny little bed. Great, man. I just picked up the whole bed and I was like, follow me. And we go across the hall. I put the bed down and I was like, all right, we're going to calm down. You want to come out and watch some TV with me for a little while? And they said, yeah. So we go out and we watch like, Dora's cousin, Diego.
Yeah. Okay.
We watched like Diego. And then they were like, all right, I'm sleepy. It's time for me to go to bed. Okay, cool. Well, don't go to the bedroom on the front of the house. And they go to the bed and they fall asleep. 0 incidents, right? The next day, they can't remember talking about a little girl in the corner wearing a long nightgown facing the corner of the room. They didn't remember any of that. And that's where we put my son. And I feel guilty about it to this day, right? Because it feels a little, that kid got the short end of the straw, right? Because he just came into the house and we put him in the haunted room.
Yeah.
But he never complained. I mean, it might explain a bunch of stuff, but he never complained.
I have to ask, did you turn around and check the corner when she said it was in the corner?
Like, no. I had to, right?
Okay.
Like, somebody says there's somebody behind you. But the overhead light wasn't on. It was just like their night light next to the bed. So everything was cast in like a dim orange, And I was like, God, I do not want to turn around right now. Like, this is how it all ends, man.
Yeah.
But even me, like I like a dedicated atheist at this point, right? Who hopes there's not a God because of everything that we see in this modern age. Like, I've got, like, I hope that no one is in control of this, because if they are, I don't like them.
Yeah.
I really didn't want to turn around and see somebody like, just the idea that I would have to turn around made me uncomfortable, and I was not stoked. And obviously I didn't see anything, but I was really weirded out because my oldest had never done that. They had never said they were seeing things that weren't there. They never said they saw ghosts floating around or little girls in their bedroom. And just 10 minutes before, they were super stoked about going to sleep.
Right.
So like maybe they had a nightmare and it just freaked them out. But we're talking like almost 2 years of life experience at that point, and they had never done that.
Yeah, it's not like you're letting your little girl go to bed watching the original Ring or anything like that. Like there's no no reference for her to have this dream of some little girl in a long nightgown. She wasn't
like, oh yeah, Samara's gonna come for a sleepover.
Exactly. Tonight. Yeah. She's never seen the Blair Witch, so she doesn't know that standing in the corner was part of that as well.
Yeah, just waiting to get killed.
Oh, dude. Yeah. God. Yeah. See, I never had any of those experiences with my little one. So I can count myself lucky with that, but it just
it was real freaky.
Yeah, and it's those creepy encounters that like, how do you define those? Like, how do you explain those? With the belief system and without a belief system, it's just like, Yeah,
I'm really curious. Like, I've heard a lot of stories from people with faith, right? Mm-hmm. And again, I don't discount people that have faith. I think that religion is fantastic. If it makes you feel more at peace with the world around you, I wholeheartedly endorse whatever it is that makes you feel at peace, right? There's just too much stress nowadays.
If it works for you, make it happen. But
if somebody goes, or most of the stories that I've heard where people go, hey, so I'm going to tell you something. It's going to sound kind of crazy, but I promise it's true. It's generally like I saw a relative. They said that they were okay. They said that heaven was banging, like whatever.
Yeah.
It was always like something to verify their belief, right?
Yeah.
It played into their familial history or what they believed in. There was a touchstone, right? Like that relative said this, and because of that, I believe him. Like, great. What would you do if you were a person of faith and you like your kid screamed out of nowhere, and you go in there and they say there's a little girl standing in the corner, facing the corner, wearing a long nightgown, who says that you can't go to sleep? Like. You're going through the Bible in your head and you go, all right, where was that covered in Matthew?
Yeah. Don't remember that in Corinthians. Like shit. Demon. That's the only thing you can say. Demon can take whatever form, shape they want. There's your bam, demon.
Yeah, bing bang boom. In this case, a little girl in a nightgown.
Which
also, let's just say, like, there are very few things creepier than a small child in a nightgown just like hanging out in a corner. Like, you're gonna die at that point. Like, once you see that, you're like, well, I'm toast.
That's like, like all the YouTube, the creepy YouTube videos that are out there, and like 99% of them are just, very badly done CG or setups. The ones that always, even though I know they're fake, the ones that always creep me out are the ones where like there's like a trail cam footage of like a little girl walking through the woods at like 2 o'clock in the morning in her nightgown, and I'm like, nah, that's not healthy. Don't want to go in those woods.
My favorite of those are the ones that would like just reach out and recycle footage from popular horror movies and just like throw a filter on it, like they open up a closet and then you see Samara just like crawling along the floor and they go, oh yeah, nobody can explain it. Oh, you can't explain it? You didn't see the hit movie The Ring? Like,
or even the Japanese version.
Yeah. Like, who did you think you were for? Oh, it's okay. I'll put a little bit of gray over the gray girl.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I love especially with a background in news and media and editing. I love watching those videos and just looking for like the subtle little clipping and the edging from like where they had to use Photoshop to take out the background.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I can instantly tell if this is going to be a fake video or not, what is the justification for this weird ass camera angle? Why do you have a camera in your bathroom above your sink pointing into your shower?
Yeah.
There's no reason to protect your shower. So that's not a security camera. That's stupid.
Sure.
So whenever I see those, like, unless they're saying, oh, I set this camera up to catch stuff. Nah, this is a fake video. Like, your camera angles do not justify what I'm seeing right now. So
that's kind of how I felt with the Ouija board scene in the first Paranormal Activity. I'm like, why did you set up the camera in the living room?
Yeah.
The whole movie's about the bedroom.
Yeah. So, that was still a fun movie. The first one was really fun.
Oh my God, it was so fun. I was terrified. Watch that movie. I was deployed. I had a roommate. We were watching it on his laptop, and it was a really great guy. We're both in our beds, just the tiniest room. It's a 10 by 10 room that has 2 twin beds in it. So like the space is already eaten up like crazy, you know? And this laptop is on a folding chair between our beds. And I was like, hey, Ross. And he goes, yeah, what's up? I was like, I'm so glad you're here, man. I'm so scared. And then after the movie, somebody was like, hey, man, you watch the movie. That's great. You got to tell me what ending you see. Because apparently there's like 15 endings out there. And so we're deployed and we run into this trailer that has a bunch of other little rooms like ours did. And we bust into this dude's room. It's like 2 a.m. We just finished the movie. This was the ending we saw. And he was like, oh, this is the ending that I saw. And somebody's walking down the hall. Oh, are you guys talking about Paranormal Activity? This is the ending that I saw. And pretty soon we had like 15 dudes just crammed in this 10 by 10 room, just scaring each other. Like, just like U.S. servicemen just kind of hanging out. Like, you know, like some of them are badass, some of them are not. And we're just like scaring ourselves silly. What do you think happened?
So, you know, and I just thought about this. That's such a funny thing about like the spooky and the paranormal. No matter what your faith is, or if you don't have a faith, it does seem to be this like common bond that will draw people together that might normally not have a reason to have a conversation. Because everyone's got a spooky story. Everyone's got a ghost story to tell, even if it's not happened to them. So I kind of like that about the paranormal for sure.
That's so less tied to the paranormal specifically and just more horror in general. Like, I love horror because I just got done writing this huge thing because I'm going to review like all 62 Goosebumps books on my Instagram. But I'm thinking about tying in this big essay. It's like 4,000 words underneath every one of the reviews, and it's just kind of going to go along the stream with the 62. But I was talking about how nobody in the 90s, none of the parents liked their kids reading Goosebumps. And it's like real weird reading Goosebumps as an adult because you go, not a lot to clutch your pearls over with this series, you know, like not a lot of bad stuff happens to the kids. There's next to no blood. Violence is minimal. Like, what's your beef exactly? And I think that what it is that with horror, like horror teaches you stuff. And like a lot of the Christian media that I grew up with was horror. It introduces images and thoughts into your mind that you can never take away. And this is bad. But as I get older, the stuff that sticks with me isn't necessarily how scary the idea of a Chucky doll was. And it's more along the lines of what's really scary is the monster that is close to reality, you know, like thousands and thousands of pages of horror that I've read over my life have prepared me for modern horror in real life, systemic racism and sexism and prejudices, you know, gunning people down on the streets. When I like horror has prepared me for these atrocities, you know, and it also teaches you to question authority, you know, like these people that are supposed to be looking out for you and making sure that you do what the right thing is. Well, who's to say that that's the right thing? You know, like they might just be looking to use you as a pawn to further their own end. And it teaches that critical thinking, but also like Scooby-Doo did way back when, the adults are the bad guys, you know, like
old man Smithers.
They're doing something, you know. So when you do that, when you like introduce that idea that maybe not all adults are there for you, and now what are you going to do? like you're going to rely on each other. You're going to think critically more about the societal ties that bind us together. And you go, this stuff doesn't really make a lot of sense. Like, I mean, yeah, I understand that it's been done for decades because that's how it's always been done. But it seems like this is not the way to go. And I think that when it comes to that, like everybody can bond over horror because monsters are scary and we can all kind of enjoy the fear together. But when you just take like just a baby step after that, right? And you go, hey, I watched The Fly and The Fly is badass. Let's talk about AIDS.
Yeah.
Or when you say, I loved It Follows. It really harkens back to 80s horror, long camera shots, like a real moody movie. Let's talk about STDs.
Yeah. Like, which is, I guess, what that movie was supposed to be about in the first place,
So the guy that made that movie, he says that he will never tell anybody that they interpreted it wrong. He wanted it to be open, But the thing that got me is that the creator said that it isn't wholly about STDs because what dooms you is also what frees you. And that is not how STDs work. You can't be like, oh man, I got herpes and that is awful. I'm just going to give all of my herpes to this next person, like that's not how it works.
Here you go.
But when I watched it the first time, I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I just started analyzing the crap out of it. And eventually I was like, you know what? Like it might be about how you need to be careful who you let into your life in general, because you never know what kind of baggage they're going to bring with it. But what really got me was the ending where that dude went and sought out the prostitute, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, that prostitute is going to have that thing following it around, right? For 5 minutes. Presuming that it's a very popular prostitute.
Right, if she's a busy girl. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the John's going to get it, right? But the John's going to die. Like, they needed the prostitute. So the prostitute doesn't know the rules. They don't know what's coming after him because chances are they've never seen him, right? But the John is going to absolutely get killed.
Absolutely.
And then the thing's going to come back toward the prostitute. But by now, she's already got another customer.
And so that guy's going to die.
Yeah, you got like tons and tons of Johns dying left and right. Nobody understands why. Like all of these like really frustrated spouses are, why is my husband dying? And it's all I could think about when I watched it. Like when I think it was like my 4th or 5th time. I go, a lot of dudes are about to die, and they're never gonna know why.
Like that to me is a great spin-off movie. Like the investigator investigating all these random weird deaths, and then the only commonality between them is this one prostitute, Brenda. Like,
yep, yeah, yeah, but like, how would they know, right? Like the digging it. Well, he did like this one prostitute named Brenda. Maybe you should go check her out. This sounds a lot like one of those middle Hellraiser movies.
Yes,
where they just like stuck Pinhead into it, but it was not a script that had Pinhead in it.
Oh, dude. Yeah, that is absolutely like a mid-'80s, like bad horror movie.
Yeah.
And I want to write it and film it. Let's do it. I think that'd be great. So, well, man, I really appreciate you coming on the show with me and having fun, but also having a very deep conversation about the other side of, the paranormal and faith and how they all kind of relate and then yet don't relate at the same time. So.
Sure. Yeah, I had a great time. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. If you ever want to come back on, or if the tooth comes back while you're deployed, let me know.
Yeah, will do.
So, all right, man. Again, really appreciate it. And I'll get back up with you here shortly. All right.
Sounds great. Take care.
All right. Thanks, Luke. All right. Thank you guys for listening and experiencing another Dark Roast story with me. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and let me know in the comments if you let your religion or beliefs color your experiences with the paranormal. If you want to share your story with me, just drop me an email at tfdr.podcast@gmail.com. Let me know all about your experience. Remember, you can find the show on most major platforms: YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Instagram, and our new Facebook, where you can feel free to send me a message anytime you like. Just search for Tales from the Dark Roast. Wherever you're listening, leave us a comment, a review, or just hit the like button if you're enjoying the Dark Roast. It helps me to grow the channel. Thanks for listening, and remember, stay safe and stay caffeinated out there, my friends. I'm William, and this has been Tales from the Dark Roast.